Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps. My co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to all listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Love is Blind Season 2, Episodes 9 through to 10. Now, Chris, we made it. I know we do have the reunion episode after this one, but we got there. We got to the end of the 10 episodes, and I guess couple by couple, we've got the bachelor, bachelorette parties, we've got the weddings, we've got, which way did everyone decide to go? So which couple would you like to start with?
I think I'd like to start with Danielle and Nick, if that's okay, Dave, because we came in hot in episode 8. Episode 9 ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. Nick is basically doing that meme of the guy who looks like he's got a hose pipe streaming down his face full of sweat. It was a weird episode, this, with the Bachelorette. Episode 9 was pretty poor, really, pretty shit. There was not a lot going on until we got a little bit of drama with him. Again, Danielle at the start of the episode showing a hand again, that self-destruct button's there. And like you said in the last episode, these two are not compatible. And I went away, actually, because I was like, Nick's a bit devious. He's this, and I called him out a bit, which I still sort of stand by. But I do think you're right. I think it's just a case of they're completely incompatible. However, they both say I do, Dave. And I'm like, well, it was so weird the way they left the cliffhanger saying, like, she says yes. And then Nick's there and they've got all his sweat dripping down his face. There's a pause. You see it. her mum or whoever's like, oh my God, here we go. And literally that was all editing, because as soon as they asked him, he said, I do. And I was shocked, Dave, that he did say that. I thought he was going to leave her at the altar.
I think I thought the same. I still think they do have incompatibilities there, but they both decided that it's okay, they'll get past them. But they just seem to argue about the stupidest shit. And I don't really see this working in the long run, to be honest. I'm sure you can get by with making these compromises, with having these blow-ups, and then you can kind of get over them and have a makeup session and whatever. But fucking hell, it's not a long-term strategy, surely. And so I was quite surprised that these were one of the couples who seemed as sure as anyone to just say, yeah, let's go for this. I was a bit knocked sideways for that one.
Yeah, weird one, Dave. Weird one. And I think even the family was. I mean, Nick's mum, she didn't pull any punches, as we saw in the family episode. She looked more angry that he'd said, I do, than he said, I don't. That was really bizarre. Danielle's going to have a long battle, I think, to win his mum over. A long fucking battle. But again, look, there wasn't many positives. Not positives, but there wasn't many to say, I do, in this sort of last couple of episodes. But they were one of them, Dave. And that was a shock for me, as I just said. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, so inside the pods, and this is the whole thing, isn't it? Is love really blind, and can you fall in love with someone behind a wall and then make it work on the outside? They obviously had a massive connection in the pods, but just since that, I just haven't really seen it. They just seem to be at loggerheads, and that could be an editing thing. But like I say, it seems like almost every episode, they're just on completely different wavelengths. So it'll be interesting to see how they do after the series. I personally feel like they're just too different. And, one of them will hit the self-destruct button at some point.
Yeah, I think so. And again, the union tells a lot. The reunion is a union of two people, but the reunion usually tells us a bit more, because that's always filmed a little bit after, like what we had in maths, didn't we? The maths reunion was filmed a couple of months afterwards. So if things had happened with relationships, things like that. So that's where I'm really excited about that day, actually, because the reunion, just everyone brings the fucking tea then, don't they? We get some proper kickoff. So I'm lucky. I hope it delivers. So let's say on that. But the next couple, Dave, is I think we should talk about Shake and Deepsy because for me, he's a cock, Dave. He was a little bit humble in a couple of things, but you're on a show, Love Is Blind. Whatever context, whichever way you've got there, whether it's through a talent agency or whatever, you're on the show. You've got this relationship with Deepsy. You've both said you've dated blonde white people. You've never dated an Indian girl. It all fits together. They were compatible together, bar the fact that he's going around telling everyone, like you said in the last episode, and again in this episode 9, that it was like being with his auntie. She reminds me of my auntie. And Shane's like, you need to just give her the bit of loving, give her a bit of the old Barry White moves. And he's like, I don't think I can get past it. I'm like, what's the fucking point? I just think he come across as just arrogant, and in the end, it was just a dick, basically, Dave. And I'm so glad that she ditched him and she did the right thing for her, because you can't have gone through this experiment, not had any physical interaction.
No, but I think the thing I don't like is just how vocal he is. Like, he basically tells everyone, I'm sure I mentioned this on the last episode, he just seems to constantly go on about it and do fuck all about it. And you could see, props to Shane, I think. I think it was the start of the Bachelor and Bachelorette episode 9. And you could see he was getting a bit annoyed with him. He's like, come on, step up your fucking game. Like, I don't know. I just thought he come across like a real dick. And, I was so glad that she decided to say no, because she hadn't really shown much at all up until that point. I think she'd said something a little bit cryptic, I think, before, maybe she's been so focused on him, maybe she has to focus on herself or something to that effect. That was literally the only thing that she'd said. And then, it gets to the whole wedding. I've got to say, Chris, I've never been to an Indian wedding. And I've had a few invites, but, they've always actually been in India. A lot of my colleagues and ex-colleagues and stuff based out of India. So, it's not that easy to just jump and head across to an Indian wedding. But how much fun does that look? Brilliant. With all the dancing and everything, all the, and then they go on for a long time as well. And so, just to get your whole family together like that, just for that camera, and then just say, nope.
I know. It's bizarre, isn't it? She's dressed up. She looks stunning. I know she's not the only one, but she looks stunning. That's taken. I know it's part of the show, but you just think, it's like, why don't she just turn up in a fucking tracksuit at the bottom of the thing and go, no, see ya. It's proper like Hollywood, in it, the way that's all done, and she goes off with the dress, because that must cost them a bomb, Dave, to do all that.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Jessica in series 1, right, didn't invite any of her family. Why? Because she knew what she was going to say. It's like, well, I'm not going to waste their time, am I? So, and maybe the producers have something in the contract. You have to see it through. You have to, turn up for the wedding, whether you want to be in it or not. It could be something like that. But then, I don't know, what's her name? Shayna, she cut it off, didn't she? So I don't know. It just seems like a lot of trouble to go to just for that moment. And it was a great moment, to be fair. Yeah. And like, again, I just can't work Shake out. I guess he's kind of the showman, or trying to be the showman, isn't he? Because like, he just gets dumped, and then he's like, "Come on, everyone, this is a celebration." And trying to rally the crowd and everything. It's like, well, this is a bit weird. So yeah, no, I was really happy. I thought that was the right outcome. It would have been interesting what Shake said, I think. Because I feel like he's just never been into Dipti at all. But she's kind of said all the right things to make him think, actually, this could be a life partner who would really fit into my lifestyle. So just thinking about it selfishly like that, then, okay, I'll kind of go along with it. But just if he's not physically attracted to her, he's not physically attracted to her. So I think that's fine. Like I say, he's got every right to feel that way. It's just the way he's constantly going on about it, I just find really distasteful and disrespectful.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm with you. And I was pleased for her, Dave. She'll find somebody. She said that in the VT, didn't she? It's just not the right one for her, which is good.
Let's face it, Chris. He's out of her fucking league.
Yeah.
or the other way around. Like, he should be fucking delighted. She's stunning. I just think, like I say, good outcome that
one. Cock, basically. Yeah, what a bella.
You're a cock.
You're a cock, yes. The next one, Dave, which came left field for me, was Sal and Mallory. So I'd said in the last episode, like Mallory had just done a full 180. She was into Jarrett, a little bit of conversation. Then she just completely turned all in, met his sisters, the love, everything. I know I'm going over what I said last time, but I did think it would be her who may ditch him at the altar, but that wasn't the case, Dave, was it?
Yeah. It was a weird turnaround, this one as well. And fucking hell, we get the ukulele and the singing again. I know we disagreed on this last time. So what did you reckon this time? Because he's giving it the old...
Terrible. Fuck off. It was terrible. It was, you know what? When he was with his mate, because his mate was a better singer, but they were both really good when he did it on his own. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's terrible. That is fucking rubbish. I don't know why, but
it seemed to work for her, didn't it? She got emotional again. I think she thought it was really good. And so I felt like a bit of a dick, but I felt like, God, that's so fucking cringe.
It was weird. It was really weird. And when he said, like, basically, no, it's on Mallory, they took it well and they had a conversation, but I wasn't expecting it, Dave. I think it's the right choice, but I thought he was all in, to be honest.
You can't help but feel we've not seen everything from this couple. Like, we had the stuff with Mallory and Jarrett, and that's not really played out at all. They kind of teased us a little bit. Was it episode 3 or 4 when they had that whole conversation? Implied, we're going to see more of this. Didn't see anything of it at all. And so, since then, you really feel like Mallory's been kind of all into it. And then Sal, he's got his insecurities, but he seems to have gotten over them. In the last episode, we said about this weird thing with his like ex-girlfriend or current girlfriend, whatever it was, just turning up. But I was really surprised. This one took me by complete surprise. This one, I thought he'd go with it, and it was her who I thought might, wobble a bit and say no. But it's just bizarre.
Yeah, it's bizarre, Dave. So I think, Dave, we shouldn't end this episode on a negative. So let's talk about one of the other couples that didn't make it was Shane and Natalie, Dave. Now, Shane, in the episode 9, they went on this baseball thing as part of the Bachelorette. He's obviously done the old classic. Like in our terms in the UK, we all say football or soccer, if you're in America, but it's football. You all know somebody, or we've always said, Dave, as a cliche, I had a trial, or I missed the bus for a trial at a football team. I could have done it. You know that, Dave. These people we know.
I've done it.
Yeah, I've done it myself. I had a trial. You know how fucking rubbish I was at football. So I've had that myself. I had a trial for like Trafford, whatever. We've all said it. And like, I must be a good player, really good. Shane has obviously bigged himself up that he's played at a level he may have done. He looks quite a fit lad, Dave. He couldn't hit a ball. He threw his fucking hat off. Then he threw his bat. Then he had to go at Salvador because Salvador had his fucking chinos and slip-on fucking shit flicker shoes. It was fucking ace.
That was so good. And he'd obviously talked himself up. And I couldn't see who it was, but someone said, like, well, you look like a baseball player.
Yeah.
You just can't hit a fucking barn door with a banjo. So that was brilliant. And I did wonder to myself, if the pitcher was kind of, throwing him a bit faster for him, you fancy yourself a bit, dear. So I don't know if there was a bit of that, but it did pull me back into real life, to be honest. Like you say, when you have those people, they talk up their game about how fucking great they are, and then they're shit. And then they have to overplay how angry they are then, don't they? I mean, I do think, I'm sure we'll come back to that seething simmering rage that Shane always seems to have underneath the surface. But he's got to play it up there because he's so disappointed because he's so fucking good, Chris. Yeah. It's just something crazy happened here on this weird day. It's just, oh man, I'm so angry. So it's just fucking nonsense, isn't it? And that was probably the highlight of these 2 episodes for me, to be honest.
Well, you say that, Dave. I'll tell you what I loved as well. He's bad, really, because sort of shitting on him. But when they get to obviously to the get married, we get with like this thing that they've had the big bust up, haven't they? And it's been really bad. And Shane has been an absolute wanker to her. The way he spoke to her, that was a bit awful. Yeah. Really, really unacceptable. And I've got to give Natalie a due, Dave, because she was like, nope, that's it. And I'll tell you one of the other reasons, Dave, that was a red flag for me, that she should definitely not have married fucking Shane, because he wore no fucking socks, Dave. And I was like, you look like a tool, mate, an absolute tool. But I couldn't get, this is one of my Chris Phelps observations. You know, he reminded me of when he was walking and he was like sort of strutting when he got sort of ditched at the altar. And this is going to be a completely left field reference, just in his body.
It's not Mr. Joshua.
No, Mr. Joshua, no. Fancy shot at the title? No, it's not him. I thought he walked and his mannerisms that were like the Biff off Back to the Future. I don't know why, because he had them drain pipe shoes on. And you know, the way he was like, he was sort of scurrying around in the frame. Yeah, McFly. Yeah. He just reminded me of Biff. I was like, oh, he's just a dick. I did come away thinking, is he on though? I know we've given him a bit of shit, but I was thinking, is he on the spectrum or something? Because he was so. I don't know, David.
Laugh at that bit, but
I'm not
sure he's on the spectrum. I think he might be on something, Chris.
Yeah. Well, that's probably more likely. You're right, because I think the old marching powder was there. Definitely, I think I agree with that. But just weird, and I did think he got his just desserts, because every time Natalie's had a normal conversation with him, he's had to go passive aggressive with her, hasn't he? And just lay into her when she's having a joke or whatever. He's just very, very strange guy.
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't come across like he's got the most emotional maturity, does he? Or emotional intelligence. I just think we've seen this constantly, though, from these two, and the way they communicate, and like, if he's not getting that kind of reassurance from her, he starts to get angry. But then they'll both do it where they're like, ha, 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 yeah, you totally just fucked me over there, and they'll try and laugh it off, and it's like that ridiculous thing that people do. It's like, oh, we're always laughing us. You fucking see you next Tuesday. So it's just a weird behavior from both of them. And obviously, a lot of this fight happened off camera, so it's all kind of hearsay. We didn't actually see anything, but obviously, some horrible things were said, and it must have been bad, because some of the smaller fights, if you like, that we've seen, we've called out these red flags. But I think Natalie was just so convinced that, well, Shane's everything that she's not. He's outgoing, and she obviously sees something in him. But I think it's the right decision for them two. I just didn't really see them as being compatible at all. It's like, these two have had a lovely holiday romance, and that's the start and end of it, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I was proud of her, Dave. Like I say, I was proud of what she did, because he deserved that. He deserved that reality check. It might make him a better person. I don't think it will, but there is hope that there's a bit of self-reflection, because he needs it. I hope he watches this and doesn't go, I made a mistake, I should have gone with Shayna, because I don't think that would have worked either. But at the end of the day, he's been good TV for what this show is. It's not been the greatest series, but he has pricked my interest, because every time he comes on, I don't know what he's going to do. I'm just sort of like thinking, what the hell are you going to do next? So that's not a bad thing. That's what you need, don't you? You need that little bit of spice with these characters to sort of make it watchable for us and for people listening to the podcast as well.
And I think, what I will say about him, he does seem a heart on the sleeve sort of person. So he's not one of these polished social media types who is thinking about, oh, how am I going to come across? You know, the little mannerisms that he has. You know, he's like a caged animal sometimes, isn't he? You know, this is stretching a bit to try and find something positive, to be honest. But you know, you don't behave that way if you're playing up to the cameras, do you? So
No.
I think that genuinely was him, and I'm sure he'll look back at this and think, yeah, that's not a good fucking look. I need to work on myself there.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dave. I'm with you. So, Dave, the last couple, and we do end on a bit of a high, is Jarrett and Liana as well. So, I didn't think there was any cause. I thought maybe she might have ditched him, not because I had any inkling, but the fact that his old man was the priest. I think his dad would have chinned him. He's one opportunity to say, you know, I'm not going to.
Can you imagine
that? I was there, and there was a bit of a pause, and I thought, oh, your poor dad's going to be more upset than Anna, I think. But no, they did tie the knot, and it was nice what they said. And I think it's genuine between him, Dave. There is a chemistry, and what his words were lovely, I thought, what he said to her.
Yeah, and I think you can tell they say it all the time, don't they? All of the couples in this series and the previous one, I just don't know what I'm gonna do, because they have to build the tension, you know. And you'd think, if it was just you and I, you know, and we were gonna do something, I don't know, next Saturday, we'd have a chat about it. What are we going to do? Oh, well, we'll do A, B, and C. You know, you just can't avoid those kind of conversations in real life. You don't like literally just rock up with no idea. Am I going to say yes or am I going to say no? But they've got to play it up for us. They've got to play it up for the cameras, for the storyline on the episode and what have you. But I think for these two, we said in our last episode that they looked the strongest out of the lot. And I didn't ever really feel it was in doubt in this episode. I thought the stuff we talked about with the going out late and stuff and playing the computer games and whatever, this is a guy who's been single for a long time. Yeah. And I think he's obviously enjoyed and been well immersed in his single life. So probably not that much of a surprise that he does some things which don't really fit into, you know, a life when you are going to be married. So I think at the start of episode 9, I thought he said some really on the nose things, you know, about, you know, I know I can't do these things, excuse me. And so, you know, these things that I've got to work on. So, no, I'm delighted these two are still together. Well, I'll say at least episode 10 they are. You know, so, you know, yeah, best couple out of the lot for me.
Yeah, me too, Dave. So, Dave, we put a full stop on this season. We've alluded to what we're going to be doing next. We're going to do the reunion first, but we are doing Ultimatum, aren't we, Dave, off Netflix? Yeah. So if you haven't watched it, guys, we have already watched a few of them before we record, and they are good, really good. So get on it. And it's not, I won't say it's at maths level, not yet. It might do, but I've heard good feedback on our Facebook page. Get over there, guys. Chris and Dave's Reality TV cast. There's a little thread on there. There is a few things, so just watch. It might spoil some of the things, but honestly, it's definitely worth it. You've got a Netflix subscription. I definitely recommend it. So we'll be covering that one, won't we, Dave, in the next week or so?
Yeah. And I mean, what are your final thoughts on this Love is Blind season? Where does it rank in all of the different shows that we've covered?
You know what we should do, Dave? We should really, and I'm going to say this, and you're going to go, you're a bell end, but we probably should do a scoring system like we do on our other podcasts, but we don't do it in number order, do we? We have like a name.
Like a cryptic name thing.
Yeah, cryptic name.
We always forget.
Yeah, we always forget every single episode just to confuse us even more. But so anyway, if we're doing a conventional scoring system, I'd probably give it 5 out of 10. I don't think it's been the greatest at all. It's watchable, but I genuinely have not enjoyed this like I thought I would, to be honest.
Yeah, 5 out of 10. I think I'm with you there. I think that would be where I'd sit on it as well. I think, you know what, I did enjoy it a little bit more when we did, you know, 2 episodes as opposed to we were going through one episode at a time. And because of all the other things, it ended up being like one episode a week. And so it just, it never really got going. So I enjoyed it a little bit more to binge, but just not really that much happened. I just didn't feel particularly invested. There wasn't really any proper drama to it. At the end of Maths episodes, Chris, I'm chomping at the bit and I'm like, fucking hell, I don't know how I can wait till tomorrow. Come on, you end up wishing the day away. Whereas at the end of these episodes, I never felt particularly, chomping at the bit for the next one. So, yeah, just I think I'd have it somewhere around, single town. For me, it's on that level. So yeah, not in a massive rush to do season 3, to be honest.
No. I'm with you, Dave. I'm with you. So, guys, if you want to support us, get over to Patreon, patreon.com/CD RealityCast. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us on social media @CD RealityCast. So, today's roll call of honor is Ken Gustafson, Lucky Lily Green, Lauren Hennessy, Susan, Priscilla, Dee Dee, Katie, Helen, Joanna, Zoe, Noreen, Brianna, Helen, Keith, and Michelle. So thank you so much for supporting us, guys. We really, really do appreciate it. Get over to Facebook, as I said earlier on, Tristan Day's Reality TV Cast. And if you've got anything you agree or disagree with, please email us in, as I've just got the address out. I love reading them out, love talking about it as well. So really, really good stuff. And Ultimatum, guys, is the one to go for next, without a doubt. So, Mr. Horrocks, another season in the bag, and it's been good. And then, me, I love us chatting anyway. So there's always a good laugh there between a pair of us just chatting. And when we're messaging each other for the podcast, like, have you watched it? And it's usually you ahead of me at the moment on these shows. I'm like, no, I've got to watch it. So yeah, I cannot wait for this Ultimatum one, because I've got notes, David. I have notes, my friend.
I'm like the canary, aren't I? Just to send out in front and just see if it's any good. And if it's any good, I'm like, Chris, you gotta watch this. And yeah, we've inadvertently, because we're covering Temptation Island, aren't we, over on the Patreon feed? And I hadn't even realised myself, Chris, that we've inadvertently ended up doing 3 concurrent seasons again.
And I messaged you, didn't I? And I went, remember when we said 3 seasons? And actually, my fault. It was you this time, Dave.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, we always say, don't we? It is usually me who breaks first, and then you're like, yeah, let's do it.
I've got more free time than you, that's why, because I'm just like chomping out, and I don't like putting you under pressure doing it. But as soon as you give us the green light, Dave, I'm like, right, we're in, let's do it. So, no, brilliant, mate. Really, really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, we will cover the reunion episode.
Yeah.
So we'll see what everyone, if these couples have stayed together or what they've done. And like you say, then we'll probably do a few episodes at a time for Ultimatum. So we tried the, one by one format for the Netflix shows, but I think batching them up is a little bit better. So probably do, what do you reckon, 1 to 4 on Ultimatum. We'll probably do that next.
Yeah, definitely. Right, Mr. Horrocks, have a good day, and everyone listen, have a great weekend, guys, or what's left of it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye now.